Alright everyone, unfortunately time to make another video about David Hogg. See, now he's like 20 now, so you can actually use his name. Before, for some reason, you actually like get deplatformed if you criticized him before. It was rather funny. I think he took a year off, right, before going to college, and so he's older. I think for some reason he turned 19 when he was still in high school or something, which is, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, he got into Harvard, congratulations, and people are like mystified because his SAT score was considerably below what the average for an applicant is. Like I think they said the lowest 10% or something is like they got 14 something on their SAT, and he got a 12 something, which is like mediocre. I don't. Number one, let me just put it this way. I don't care that David Hogg undeservedly gets into Harvard. Harvard is one of those schools. It is about academics, but at the same time, it's really about reputation. Like, for example, valedictorian of our class, I believe, applied to Harvard, was upset at not getting in, despite having basically a perfect score on the SAT. I don't even want to know how many AP credits, as well as extracurriculars and everything else, probably in the top 1,000th of 1% within the nation. Insane. Doesn't get in to Harvard. That's because it's all about who you know. It's like, you're a Clinton, you're a Bush. Yeah, Bush gets into Yale. He's a very, very smart man, obviously very astute. Now, cunning. I don't think that he's, by the way, as dumb as he pretends to be in public. But what was his actual scores when he did the entry exams for getting into Yale? The Ivy League college, what happens is that if they think that you're going to be a phenomenon, they want you aboard. They want David Hogg to go here because they think he's going to get the degree, whatever he's going into poli-sci or something. He gets the degree, he goes off, he becomes an activist. That means because he is associated with Harvard, Harvard gets free airplay, essentially. It's not so much about the intelligence, it's about the dedication to some cause that they themselves largely happen to agree with, and you know that they do. In their ivory towers, I'm sure that they're very big proponents of disarmament. So now he'll get a supposedly world-class education, and it'll be quite funny. I don't begrudge that to him, though. Yeah, I mean, taking a year off to do the activism before applying to Harvard was definitely, I guess he made the right decision. And he doesn't strike me as a dumb person. I just happen to disagree with his beliefs. But then there's the flip side, which is that a lot of people on the left still pretend that he's David Hogg, the high schooler, and that therefore you're being a bully. He's just a boy. You're being a bully if you call out what he believes in. The things that he has suggested as part of his, kids against gun ownership sort of platform will not actually just get rid of gun violence within the United States. It simply won't happen. Banning assault rifles, so-called, will not stop gun violence. Most gun violence happens with handguns. Magazine restrictions will do nothing. The bump stock ban is totally meaningless. Expanded background checks are impossible to enforce because Farmer John will always exist to sell his shotgun out of the back of a van. And there will always be gangs that have, illicit weapons of various smaller calibers, handguns usually, 9mm, whatever. There will always be available, for $50 out the back of a van in the crack alley. It's impossible. It's an impossible situation, ultimately. Boiling the frog mode. What the left eventually wants to do is just get rid of guns entirely. For most intents and purposes, that is the ultimate goal, because the whole thing is they don't want people to defend themselves. They simply don't like the idea of it. It makes them uncomfortable because most of these people can't effectively do so. So they don't want their neighbors to be able to do so. They feel outmatched. It's sort of a psychological thing. I don't really give a fuck about the fact that he's going to Harvard. I found it funny that it went so viral. It's like, and the thing is, the only reason I'm responding is it's getting pushed by the legacy media. They're like, oh my god, our favorite person in the whole world, he's going to Harvard. Congrats, and by the way, horrible bigots will come out and say mean things about him. Now, I think more they're going to look at the test scores, they're going to find that a little bit odd because they probably know plenty of people who are much more intelligent who applied and got rejected when they were ready to go to college. But ultimately, yes, it's about the activism, it's about his beliefs, but also the actions. He is dedicated, he's willing to travel all around the country and make all of these speeches and stuff. It does put him above a lot of his contemporaries, mediocre SAT score aside, it puts him above that. Because it shows, hey, here's someone who's willing to work, he's already made a name for himself, we can't really lose by having him here in Harvard. So yeah, of course you can come in. Yeah, they've got a certain number of slots, I'm sure, that they reserve for celebrities, people that simply are well known. Like PewDiePie goes to Harvard. You know, something like that. They probably wouldn't let him in. He doesn't have the right think views, probably. So you got the David Hogg. So you've got the slot for dynastic families. You know, the Clinton or the Bush or the Trump, in all honesty. You've got one group of slots for them. And then you've got another for the total overachievers. Perfect SAT score, 10 AP courses, got straight fives. You know, perfect ACT score, 10, you know, football captain and baseball captain and champion wrestler and everything else. Perfect people, the beautiful people. Then you've got a group for people like, you know, David Hogg, who not from a dynastic family, but has made a name for himself, does the activism thing, has the right political views, and then gets into an Ivy. I'm sure that he probably, did he get accepted to the other Ivies? Or did he even bother to apply? He probably did, and he probably got accepted to most of them. Because they're looking at his name. They're not looking at the score. They don't give a fuck about that. They're not expecting him. They can literally just give him whatever grades, you know, as long as he keeps doing the activism thing, he can get straight A's at Harvard. Wonderful. By the way, it's the sort of living the American dream now, isn't it? He's getting ahead. He's making a name for himself. Who's going to begrudge him for that? It's actually kind of interesting that the people that side with him probably would begrudge him that. That's about all. Peace out.